Podcast number one.
It's podcast number one.
Podcast number one.
It was number one.
Why are we whispering? If you want to know who we are Wartorn. This is Warcast. I'm your host, Brad. I've got a bunch of goons and villains and heroes with me here. There's way too many of us to talk about right this second. So first what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Wartorn. Where the F did we go? And we're back. And it's as simple as that. We are back. So Wartorn is a group, I'd say 90% of us are based out of the Atlanta area. And we want to deliver amazing Warhammer content to the fans near you. Whether it's YouTube, podcast, live streaming, and then obviously we are going to be rolling a lot of dice while that's going on. So that is the simplicity of what Wartorn is. We have some great backgrounds that is going to allow us to bring amazing content to you. So we started this up in late 2016 / early 2017. We hit it really hard for about 3 months. I actually looked at the stats today and my dog found a squeaky toy, so ignore that in the background. We posted 76 videos in under 3 months. That's pretty sweet. We hit it really hard, and then everybody's real life literally just consumed them at the exact same time. So
in shambles, you'd say.
Yes, like I don't know what that means, but I'll pretend yes. So we got so busy at work, we got so busy with personal life, we just had to stop everything. And it's about time right now. We got the main crew back together and we've added a bunch of new people. There's about 11 or 12 of us now that make up Wartorn. And it's just an absolutely amazing group of guys. We love Warhammer, we love tabletop, we love content, and we're ready to do this thing. So enough of me talking. We're going to kind of introduce the people that are on this podcast. And then we will kind of explain what this podcast is going to be about, what we're going to be doing, and what Wartorn is going to be doing. So let's get you to know us. So first of all, I'm Brad. My background and my occupation is esports, video and TV production. So from live streaming to videos and things like that. I work at a esports studio, and that is what I do for my full-time job. I mainly focus on the competitive side of Warhammer 40k. So that's kind of what you'll be seeing from me. My main list faction that I play is Eldar. Yes, everybody can hate on me now. Yeah, you knew that was coming, right? So
I have a big reveal for you guys later in regards to that.
All right, somebody else go next. Noah, who are you?
Well, my name's Noah. I've been in the hobby since around 5th edition, kind of the end of the... I mainly played Eldar back then, and I kind of moved into playing Dark Angels. But I've been out of the hobby for a while, and actually Brad brought me back in pretty recently. And so my goal is kind of just to play a whole lot more, really. I want to attend a couple of GTs this year and really ramp up my competitive skills. But hopefully doing that without playing Eldar. So, yeah, that's just about it.
Jeff, you're up, sir.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm probably the newest person because I only started playing 40k when 8th dropped, because I took one look at the 7th edition rulebook and said no. My main armies, I like to play Pure Knights and Adeptus Mechanicus because I like how they function, I like the lore, and they're the good guys, unlike the filthy knife eaters. I am a competitive person, even though I do like the narrative every now and then. And yeah, I plan on doing something.
Sick. Awesome, Jeff. Well, he's a knight player, so that's just like worse than Eldar right now. So I'm not a fan of him. We have our friend Jared. Jared, who are you and what are you about?
Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk nice and soft like Brad right there. My name's obviously Jared. I am a producer with the parent company that is attached to that esports company. working on games and the like. I got into the hobby, what would you say, Gavin? Like 4 years ago?
No, it's been about 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years, so like 6th edition.
Yeah. It was the dawn of sixth.
Yeah, I was actually pulled in working when I started collaborating with Gavin with some work with the said studio. And have been in it ever since, and I'm a terrible loyalist, full blue Ultramarines. And you can boo this man too if you want for the poster boy stuff. But also kind of, culminating a bit of a WOG of my own, trying to get that going. And I dabble in a little bit of the casual and competitive. And I'm all about the hobby. What about you, Gavin? You're next.
Am I?
Yeah. Here you go. Go.
All right. Well, hey guys, I'm Gavin. I started this hobby, specifically the 40K one, about 20 years ago. But I wasn't really super. I mean, I was a little kid at the time, so I wasn't very super serious. Just loved the models, and I loved learning how to play. About 10 years ago, I got, which was during 5th edition, I got into competitive play. That was when I was in college, and did that for a little bit up in Vermont, where I was living. But then in about 4 years after that, so about 6 years ago, I kind of lost interest in competitive and started really focusing on painting, and my gaming kind of started to focus more on narrative play style using match play rules. I play a lot of other games other than 40K. I've dabbled in fantasy right before during End Times, and then got really into it with Age of Sigmar. I play X-Wing miniatures games and a lot of Warhammer Underworlds because I'm loving that quick game type. Kill Team is also something I have dabbled in, but I haven't played any since the new rules, and I'm so excited to pick it up soon. So I'm kind of all about trying to improve my painting right now. That's really kind of what the hobby is all about for me. I live the hobby as a lifestyle. I read all the books I possibly can for 40K and Age of Sigmar. I play as many Games Workshop games and a few Fantasy Flight games as I can in my time that I have outside of work. And I try to read up and watch up on pretty much all things that are going on in the tabletop wargaming community outside of competitive, because I tend to shy away from that kind of play style. I do keep up with it thanks to the other Wartorn guys. It's fun to listen in to all their gripes as I just play my super casual lists that don't belong on any serious tables. Have a good time playing. I run a goofy-ass hobby group that actually kind of spawned Wartorn, that a lot of these people in Wartorn are from. A lot of people outside of that hobby group have joined, and that's how Wartorn was created. And I play in 40K, Tyranids, Necrons, Dark Angels, Imperial Knights, AdMech, Genestealer Cults, and I just started CSM because those models are gorgeous. Promised myself I'd start them as soon as the Chaos Space Marine models weren't squatty little dudes, and they delivered. So I'm just gonna spend all my money on that too, I guess. In Age of Sigmar, I focus mostly on Sylvaneth, but I've been eyeing the Hedonites of Slaanesh because I've always been a Slaanesh fan at heart, and the new Keeper of Secrets model has my heart just pounding. I do commission painting. I take payment in models, which is destructive. But I do spend a good portion of my money on hobby purchases, so I figured this is my way of kind of balancing that out. This year, I'm looking to finish my Sylvaneth before the end of the year because I have just a few more models left, with Alariel being the crown to top that whole achievement off. And I'm looking to start painting one of my armies in a scheme, in a style that is completely unlike anything else I've painted, to try to flex my painting muscles and really see what I can do, push it into and that's me in a nutshell.
That's him in a nutshell. He says, all right, everybody else can leave the podcast. Gavin is just going to talk about his autobiography for the rest of it.
Hey, man. I could. You guys want to drop the call? I'm here.
So there's one more person, Wilson.
Yes, that's me. I'm Wilson. I'm pretty recent to the hobby. I got started initially sort of when Silver Tower came out. I never actually played any AOS or 40k until I moved here, and I think Gavin was the first person I ever played any real Warhammer game with. And I work as a digital artist with Jared and Noah and Brad at the same company. And right now my main goal is just trying to get better at the game. I'm learning all the different systems. I just started playing 40k this last month, and so far I'm loving it. And I'm hoping that I can get my first army completely painted and good to go by July. It's the real end goal for 40k, and then hopefully we'll see if we can get an army. I am in there by the end of the year. Right now I'm working on my primarily Zinch with some Thousand Suns in there and the new Chaos Space Marine flavor, some Demon Engines. I just love them so much. And in AOS, I really want to get my Dispossessed. I believe they're the supreme army. They're going to win all the tournaments, and no one's realized it yet.
Nah, they're just going to keep quietly grumbling in the corner.
That's how it starts. It's going to get louder.
Beard deep into their books.
But yeah, that's my real goal, and hopefully by the end of this year, I can actually stand toe to toe with most of the other guys on this channel, and remember I have stratagems and all those fun things.
Hey, look at that.
We
got new
so
guys,
that's
we got
everybody.
grognards, we got it all.
Yeah,
Yep.
everybody from old comers to newcomers. So that's kind of the people that will be on this podcast, on and off, all of us as a group, whoever's available as we record and go through our journeys throughout the year. So now, what are we doing as a group, and kind of what is Wartorn's kind of mission? So like I said before, our mission is content. What we see out there is not a lack of content or necessarily a huge quality loss in content, but we think that we have something special from our skills that we possess to put out better content and very high quality content. So our channel has kind of shown that in the past, and we're going to take it even further and further now and really kick up not only videos every single week and podcasts, but really start to dabble into the live streaming. I mean, that is what I do full time, day in and day out. So I want to really bring what I know and have learned from the esports scene and apply it to tabletop. I think that tabletop is following the path that esports took, and you'll probably notice a lot of references as we go through stuff. I'm probably going to talk about esports and kind of where it was and how it grew and where it is today, and how tabletop is going to follow that very similar path. A lot of people will relate tabletop to sports, which it is. Esports with video games is a sport, and I think it's something that everybody will also be able to connect on and relate to. So I'm going to use that a lot of times when using references and relating certain situations, because that is what I am personally most familiar with. So I think that is where we're going to start, and we're not going to go too much in detail on what else we want to do, because we do have very big ambitions and big goals and stuff like that. But we're going to start small. We're going to get a following. We're going to create a fandom experience, I guess you could say. And, we're just going to be a great group of people, bringing you guys stuff that you want to know, teaching you, learning along the ways. And then really what this podcast is going to be about is our stories. So, one thing that Noah actually, had me listen to and start listening to, and I've been grinding it so much. I'm so mad I'm not done with it yet, but luckily I'm traveling in 2 days, and I'm going to be sitting on a plane and sitting there, just traveling. So I'm going to grind out the rest of this podcast. But the best general. I mean, his podcast is phenomenal. It's the best podcast out there. And that is kind of, I think, what really pushed me to wanting to start us doing a podcast, because I never believed in podcasts before, straight up. Like, I'm like, why do people listen to them? They're so boring. It's just people talking. And then when there's storylines to it and you can connect with somebody and you're learning as well, especially like his is very about, competitive and how to get better. And I'm a very competitive person. I played video games competitively for years of my life, and that led me into now, taking on Warhammer competitively. So that was a huge inspiration to get this podcast started. And I can't wait to finish his podcast, to just be in awe even more on how great of a channel it is and content. So our stories is kind of what we're going to go over now, so that you guys could kind of start to follow along, I guess. We want to give you guys something to want to tune into every single week, look forward to, and we want to learn with you, and we want to show you guys kind of our experiences within the hobby and how it relates to everything else that's going on in life. So like I said before, competitive, like I'm all about competitive. And my goal really is to step up my competitive game. Like, I love going to the tournaments. I love meeting all the people, and I don't think that I'm anywhere close to being able to place top 16 or top 8, even in the smaller, 64, 32 team, or person tournaments, because my skill gap is just, it's not there yet. Like, I'm not good enough. So my ultimate goal is this entire year is learning. Like, I just want to learn, get better. And next year I want to be hitting those GTs all the time. I want to be going to LVO, Adepticon, Nova, Warzone, and I want to work on my placements of being a consistent player. I don't think that I need to have the goal of winning. I want the goal of consistently top 10, top 8, top 6. And then if winning comes out at any point, then awesome. But I think that consistency is number one. And then once that consistency factor is there, I can work on tweaking on what are the really small mistakes that are losing these games and not allowing me to win. And I've seen there and been there in dozens and dozens of esports tournaments, from playing to coaching to hosting tournaments, and I've seen what it takes from a competitive standpoint on that end. And Warhammer has some very big similarities, very small ones, and huge differences. It is its own game within itself, but you can apply things from other sports into it, and it definitely does help. And I think that's kind of where I want to head. I want to go that way, and I think that branching out from our group right here, we're obviously learning together. A lot of people like Noah, he played in his first tournaments these past couple months with me, and we're going to ATC. Wilson hasn't played in a tournament yet. Hopefully we'll get him in one before ATC, but he's going to ATC. Jeff is running his bonkers night lists in all these tournaments and trying to be a top night player, but he's going to ATC. So yes, we're going to ATC. I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over again. We're going to get raffle stomped probably, but that's okay, because we're going to have a hell of a good time. You know what? No. Okay, we're going there. Who won more games last tournament? Who placed better? Yeah. Yeah. I will dish those cards out at you, right at you. But I will say I can't beat your list, so you have that on me. I hate this, but anyways. But yeah, that's kind of the path I'm going down. I know Noah, you've been in the hobby forever. What is what journey are we going to see you take us along? What are your goals within the hobby, and whether it's competitive or casual? Show us your path.
Yep, I'm well, just like you mentioned, you invited me to join your ATC team, and I got super stoked about that because it's something I'd followed for years and years. And so for the last couple of years, actually, I've been kind of out of the hobby, not really playing as often as I'd want to. I'm just kind of like peering through the windows of the Warhammer 40k world. And so my goal for myself is definitely just to play, number one. And number two, I just kind of want to ramp up because I feel like 8th edition's kind of left me behind. So I really just want to like attend a couple of majors this year, like some GTs. Definitely go to ATC and be practicing. I also want to be good on the hobby side of things as well, where I've got like tons of stuff that's just sitting in boxes. I want to get it built and painted to a standard that I'm proud of. And I also want to play like an army. Like I play Dark Angels, so the goal for myself is just to be able to take an army that maybe people don't find as appealing and kind of place well with it. So just kind of have a winning record. So I'm hoping that over the next couple of months, get some practice in with you guys, and hopefully progress along that.
What are you learning right now? Had played in 2 tournaments with, your army that is not Eldar. What are you learning so far, and what is kind of your adaptive play style, and what do you hope to improve on in the next tournament you play in?
Oh my god, there's a million things, right? So some of the biggest things that I've realized is that I just have I have no sense of like when I really need to just hold back or when I just need to throw all my cards on the table. So I've been kind of working to understand when the moment is either to like push forward or just like to play cagey. I had a lot of really great games at this couple weeks ago at Warzone Gigabytes rather, and a lot of great opponents and a lot of skilled players. So the coolest thing about it was they were all like trying to coach me along the way, and I got some really good tips. And basically I was playing a Dark Angel Plasma list, and my instinct is just to kind of like push my models up the table, kind of in the center of the board, and that's not always the best choice.
I mean, it's one of those things, you live and you learn, right? You just got to keep getting your repetitions in, altering the list a little bit, and go from there. I think you'll keep improving.
Plasma's so good, though.
It is good. It is good, for sure. Well, you talked, Jared. I mean...
Oh, no. The spotlight's on me. Whatever shall I do? Except talk.
You are a talker. You are a talker. You and between you and Gavin, like, yeah. Like 6 hours
talk
later.
Talk about 40k, Age of Sigmar, until the sun comes up. Yeah. And then down. For me, I think my current goals right now is trying to get crap painted, right? Trying to get that list done. I'm currently sitting at my desk right now, staring at. I got 5 intercessors on my desk, and I got about 15 more to go that have just been primed blue and just waiting for details and embellishments, because I want to make that full-fledged Indominus list that I want to run, that I had a little bit of time experimenting with against Gavin not that long ago.
My Tyranids hated it.
Hey, the new Bolter rule was choice buffs for Space Marines, and along with that, I want to more of these orcs done and try to get a nice solid list painted up for that. 2K lists at this point, because that's kind of the norm around this area, 1500 to 2K. But then I also are some of us, as stated before, some of us play Age of Sigmar as well. We actually have a Path to Glory campaign that we've been doing for 8 months now?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a good bit, and I'm kind of slow growing my Carriage and Overlords, good old air dwarfs, and trying to get that done. But I also have a terrible backlog of Beast Claw Raiders and Stormcast Eternals. eyeballing all these other kinds of armies. It's terrible. I have so much to paint, but the joy of the hobby is that it's a very cathartic hobby. Just sitting here assembling and painting and trying out new techniques and seeing the finished product be thrown at the table and then immediately killed is a very satisfying process. But yeah, no, that's kind of what I do. I want to dabble more in hop in a couple of more local tournaments, maybe hop in an ITC event or two, feel bad. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my deal with the hobby right now.
Sweet. Good deal. Who's next? Who wants to go? Somebody pick. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Raise it. I can see it.
I can't see hands.
I'll go because you know how much I love
All
talking
right,
about.
everybody take a nap.
Yeah.
It's nap time. We'll be back.
I say that and then immediately unplug my microphone. So,
Nailed it.
well, let's see. For 2019, I've set myself some goals. The main one was that I wanted to get to a big hobby convention this year, and not just a grand tournament, but something that had like all aspects of the hobby represented. I was eyeing the Nova Open, and I still am. I'm just kind of figuring out if I can get the funds together for the long stay in outside of DC for that time. The main goal being to take as many painting seminars as I can and enter some of my models into the painting contests there, with no real intention to win, but just to kind of force myself to get out of my little box of just
He
painting
will
things and
probably
putting
win
them
something.
on.
His models are ridiculous.
I don't know, man. I just don't think you understand just how good models can look, man, because they can be so much gooder. So much gooder. But yeah, 2019 is mostly focused on painting for me because I'm at this point where with the current skills I know, I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm not pushing myself enough. I need to learn some new things and try to increase my turnaround so I can speed up how fast I'm painting, some tricks and tips to increase my quality without having to drastically increase the time, because I know they exist. I'm just set in my ways with how I paint. But also at the same time, really what I want to for the specific model that I absolutely want to look, stunning, put some techniques in there that may be time intensive, but really, really, when someone sees it, they know that this is a model that took time and a lot of effort and passion went into the model. Because I spent a lot of time on Twitter and Instagram looking at other people's stuff and watching other people's progress on painting and stuff like that, and it just gets so inspiring to me. I just want to learn everything I can to improve myself, and in all things, because I guarantee you, with everyone else talking about getting involved more in the competitive scene, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be trying to play them as often as I possibly can, because while I am the smartest lists or the smartest game, I enjoy the hell out of the game, and win or lose, it's just such a good time. So the more I can get on the table against these guys, the better, and the more they need to play, the better for me.
Yeah, man, let's have a joust.
Hell yes! 2.5k, right? I play weird.
No, stop. It hurts the ears.
I'll do 2.5.
All Gavin wants to
Oh, we're
play
doing 2.5.
is 1500 or 2500. He says 2K ain't touching it, bro.
I don't touch 2k anymore, man. It's
Oh.
8th edition was made for 2.5.
Totally agree with this.
Yeah, he's not
Oh
wrong.
my gosh.
I want more toys.
I understand that you could make cooler lists and better things, but the games would be so much longer. I just feel like
I
What are you
get that
talking
from
about,
like a
dude?
competitive standpoint, but
I'd-
if we're
I'd
just
only
throwing
have-
two knights against each other, or two
Yeah.
knight lists against each
Oh
other, that's
my
fast.
gosh.
I'd only have
I
like
mean,
7
yeah,
drops.
that's fast.
Yeah, it's a fast
And
game.
then go play Wilson with a full like Chaos Demon Horde Smite list, and you'll be like 45 minutes later you're done moving.
Hey man, I actually played an awesome game of knights versus I think it was kind of like the Flying Circus Demons, and Zira Kinnel, the Exalted Demon Prince of Slaanesh, was in there, and I had the most fun. It was before 8th edition, but man, it was such a good time. It was just the ultimate monster mash.
Sing the song. Monster Mash. Anyone know the words?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Okay. So Jeff, the Nightman, the Nightman himself. What are your goals,
That guy.
man? What are you doing? Take us on your journey now.
I just want to roll dice, man. That's all I didn't want. I mean, fun fact, the only reason I'm here is because me and Brad ran into each other in a tournament, and he did not enjoy the experience. Then he
Complete raffle stomped.
then he played me again and did not enjoy that experience either. Because I play knights, like I said, but I don't play the Castellan and the Loyal 32. I put down knights, plural, because I like big stuff and I hate hordes. I hate playing them. I hate playing against them. Like all my games, at all the tournaments I've been like an hour and a half to an hour. I like quick, short games, but yeah, pretty much. I just like to roll dice. I mean, I'll probably shoot for a best knight player because that's so much easier to get now because now it's codex to codex for ITC at least. And I'll probably try and get painting next year because I don't like to paint right now because I just like to roll dice.
Fair enough.
Hey, it's not for everybody, right? It's a learning curve. I like painting, but then it gets so tedious that I don't like doing the details, so then I put it off to the last minute like everybody else does, and then it's like the night before you need stuff painted, it's like grind, and then you're like, good enough. And then I never touch it again. I always go, oh, I'm gonna go back
And then you hate
highlight
it
that.
more because you just had to grind it. Yeah.
I know. So Wilson, the probably newest player here, what are you up to?
Man, I'm just painting away like crazy right now, trying to get this list for ATC done. And I wanna get started playing with it, and I'm building a bunch of stuff in sub-assemblies, so it's like paint it or you can't use it right now is my mentality. And unlike Jeff over here, I love painting. That's my original kind of thing I loved about the hobby before I started painting is just putting things together and building them up and painting them. So that's all I do. I just come home and after work and stay up until 2 a.m. every night painting my dudes up.
Yeah, his crap is solid too.
Yeah, he's
For a new guy,
vers-
it's solid.
Yeah.
Solid.
It's not for a new guy.
Yeah,
It's
not
good
for-
as is. Like it's good.
I'm not quite to Gavin's level yet. That's the goal for next year, I think. After I actually have something to play with. And after this Zinch ATC list, I'm just dying to paint up these dispossessed I got, and I'm running this whole custom model third-party army from what's his name? Is good as Skibor guy
Yeah.
from Poland.
Yeah, Screebor miniatures.
Yeah,
It's-
he apparently does nothing but make dwarf models, and they're amazing looking. I love them, and I'm running this kind of weird mixed order living city list where my tree lord is this big dwarf golem replacement unit, and my wild woods are going to be like these dwarven ruins. I'm so excited to do that. Quick shout out to Dan Say, who's a dispossessed player, probably the only dispossessed player who's ever placed in any tournament anywhere in the last 2 years. But I'm basing mine off his list because he was running some crazy dispossessed living city stuff, and I think it can go somewhere.
Yeah, if they get the same treatment that Fire Slayers did,
Yeah,
I would not be surprised. Those
2
guys-
wounds, I want it.
So that's kind of where everybody's starting, right? That's what we're doing. We're kind of all leading up to ATC right now. For some of us, getting ready for that. They're the most recent release, I guess, for GW. I know that some of you want to talk about that, so let's talk about something Warhammer related and just not us. Gavin,
But we're so cool though.
chew our ear off.
Oh man, I think Jared's in here with me, but I think what we were talking about, how our the group that started our hobby group was 4 players, and we represented the Chaos Gods in our personalities really, really, in our play styles really, really well. And I was Slaanesh in that 4. So naturally, with the Hedonites of Slaanesh Battle Tome coming out for Age of Sigmar, and how gorgeous those models are, I am very, very excited. The Keeper of Secrets is everything I ever dreamed for. And Syl, I'm just basing on its full name, the Demon Prince Herald of Slaanesh hybrid. We got to look at we only got to see their Age of Sigmar rules. I could be spacing out, but I know we got to see some rules for 40k and some
40k ones are out.
Yeah,
That's
the data
right.
sheets
That's
are
right.
up on the
Okay.
case,
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. So Syl SK.
Syl-esque.
9,
That's it.
Yeah. Movement 9 inches. Weapon skill 2 up. Ballistic skill 2 up. Strength 4. Toughness 6. 8 attacks.
That's right. Oh my
leadership
god. So the
9, 4
coolest
up
shit
save.
about this shit is that he's got 8 attacks, and he can attack with both weapon profiles in 40k. So that means he has 8 attacks with his strength plus 3 axe. So he's strength 7 minus 3 AP. It's either flat 3 damage or D3.
Just
Oh,
flat.
that's music to my ears. And then he's got his Herald with the whip that can attack. And that person, it's after you've piled it. I think it's after you've attacked with that, you can pile in at the end. I'd have to read the rules again.
I'm reading right now. So the first time this model fights in each fight phase, it can only make attacks with either its Scourging Whip or its Axe of Dominion. The first time this model finishes a consolidation move in each fight phase, it can then choose a new target and resolve its close combat attacks again, but it must follow the charge thing as well. And then the Scourging Whip is strength user, AP minus 1 damage, but it's D3 hit rolls for each one.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Eight
God,
D3
it's so good.
hits.
The
So
maximum
it's-
of
so it's-
24 attacks.
That's unbelievable.
Oh,
And like
yeah.
I'm more excited about this honestly for Age of Sigmar because we actually get the battle tome with it. That I know we'll probably get something for 40k whenever they GW gets together enough to put out Emperor's Children and Big Daddy Fulgrim in his.
Gavin got too.
Oh no, you got way too excited.
He probably
I did unplug my. I hate you guys. Because you're exactly right. I literally got too excited, leaned back, and pulled my mic out. I was still talking too.
Yeah, we figured.
I thought
man,
that
okay.
my internet
You gotta run it
disconnected
back.
everybody. I was like, oh no.
Oh, where was I? Just how excited. Okay, so Battle Tome is crazy exciting for Age of Sigmar. It's tempting to break my rule. I promised myself I wouldn't start another Age of Sigmar army until I finish Sylvaneth. Sylvaneth is just the finish of that is just around the corner. So I'm kind of like, there's blood in the water. Slaanesh is out, or is about to be out, and I really want that. The rules look super good for 40k as well. I already have some Demonette models that are fully painted, all the old school metal Demonette models. And as tiny as they are, it would be fun to do a mixed demon list of those old models with some of the new ones. And it's just, their rules are so interesting. The play for Slaanesh, or Hedonites of Slaanesh, in Age of Sigmar sounds so fun. The 3 different, I guess, sub armies that you can play, all have different play styles with rewards for playing specific ways. That's pretty standard for Age of Sigmar now in 2nd edition, but it's just really exciting to see that this playstyle is going to be very seems to be very different than the other Chaos Gods play for their mono demon and mortal follower lists.
Yeah, which is fine and to be expected, because it's I can imagine that they had a really hard time trying to find a place for this army because of the different aspects that each Chaos affiliated demon list kind of fulfilled, because you had Tzeentch, which was all spells and mortal wound outputs and all that crap, and then you have Khorne, which is just rush in your face, a lot of death, blood summoning, and then Nurgle, which is very slow and attrition based.
And unfortunately, not very favored right now, but
No.
still such a fantastic range.
Yeah, it's
But yeah,
currently Tzeentch is
this
dominating.
Slaanesh kind of fits that, and I love in the narrative how they're playing around with this Slaanesh as being so different from the other gods in that it is not a singular emotion, it is excess of all things. So all the other Chaos Gods are afraid of Slaanesh in that because they are singular personifications of these traits that they represent, they themselves are excess of that trait. So they empower Slaanesh. So they're worried that their youngest sibling could usurp, and throw the balance off, which is probably why they're pretty happy about in Age of Sigmar Slaanesh being kind of chained down at the moment. But from a gameplay perspective, the balance of this fast moving, you've got mortal wound output, you've got this kind of confounding, forcing your player to have to make choice, or the opponent to make choices where you take mortal wounds or you have to charge this really killy unit. Okay, you take mortal wounds right now, or you get +1 to hit. But if you take that +1 to hit on a roll of 4, 5, or 6, your character just dies. It's just really interesting to see this kind of play. I don't know if it's going to be particularly good in Age of Sigmar's competitive play, but it does sound like a blast to play.
Oh yeah, it's going to be strong. I think in Age of Sigmar, they, especially if you build it properly, they kind of emphasize, and I mentioned this kind of off podcast before, that it's going to be summoning heavy, I feel, because everything that you do in this army, in this list, generates points, like D3 here, D3 there. This character unit does something, or it takes damage, you generate more points. So the summoning chart, I think they showed it earlier. It didn't look that bad, and you can probably churn out a lot from it, and by the end, turn 2 or 3, no problem.
Yeah, and that's going to be really interesting, is just how much summoning is involved. Tzeentch generally being the god and that's like I was saying earlier, there's a little bit of all the other gods in their kind of play style. The only one that's really missing, and I guess this is kind of Nurgle, because Nurgle has a lot of the -1 to hits and stacking buffs or debuffs, which you kind of get to play around with Slaanesh. But it's gonna be interesting to see these armies coming out. I'm gonna be very interested to see how they end up in 40k, like who's gonna start throwing in a Keeper of Secrets every now and then into a list. I remember at one point in either 6th or early 7th, Demonettes were the favored summonable unit as far as summoning demons went, because they moved fast and they had really solid rend. But it'll be really interesting to see where this goes.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Syl would definitely see play.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I was going to mention. Yeah, the Celeste is definitely going to be a go-to in 40k, because just for one, it's a character that has less than 10 wounds, so it's got the character rule protection.
Yep.
you're going to be flooding the board with Slaanesh models or other, demon models. So it's not going to be touched, and it's going to be able to charge because it's movement 9, and Slaanesh has always had some high mobility abilities to run and charge, and it's just going to attack a lot. And it's going to get an additional... we may have missed mentioning this, but it does actually going to be swinging that axe at strength 8.
Oh, it's strength
so it's
8.
Yep, because +1 from the aura.
That's right. I forgot the aura.
Yep. So and it's also going to be rerolling 1s to hit. So it's going to do some damage to Knightlets. It can possibly deal a maximum potential of 24 damage onto a single knight. Right. At least baseline. Yeah, hitting on 2s, we're rolling 1, strength 8. Probably has some kind of re-rolling something, stratagem or spell.
Well, that's the thing. We know we aren't getting. We don't know if we're getting any kind of stratagems for this because we don't have a codex associated with Slaanesh coming out, or at least announced yet.
I anticipate that there will be one.
Yeah, maybe if they do a Chaos Demons version 2, they'll see something.
That would make pretty much a good sense with the CSM getting version 2 so recently.
Corn released too recently.
That's true.
Boom, mind blown.
We did.
All right. So if you've made it through this 45-ish minutes of listening to us talk about nothing, you've learned who we are. You've started our journeys with us. You've heard about Slaanesh. And that means that you need to go and follow us on some social media, right? I think everybody could agree with that, because if you've listened to us this long, follow our podcast. Go to wartorncreative.com. Check out all our other social links on the right-hand side. Check out our YouTube content that's going to be coming out. Let us know what else you want. Tweet at us. Love us, hate us, do whatever you want. But we're going to be here. Peace out.